this is part one of... Okay, Mr. Whyte was a locomotive engineer from Albuquerque. He invented a system of identifying locomotive type by wheel arrangement. We're all familiar with this. We know that AB608 is a 462. We know that the F preserved at Ferrymead is an 060 ST, and we know that the K at Mare or Tinwald are 242s. The issue I have with the Whyte Wheel Arrangement System is not the identification of the wheels, but the names that are associated with the types. Those names by and large are North American centric. They don't reflect our New Zealand experience with various steam locomotives over the years, and they certainly don't reflect the New Zealand involvement in the development of locomotives and wheel arrangement types. So today I'm setting it right and introducing the official New Zealand take on wheel arrangement type names. Okay, looking at this alphabetically, let's start with the A. It's an 040T. During its service life, they were known by all and sundry as Didos. So Dido is henceforth the official name for the 040T. Next in the alphabet we have B, which is a double fairly, an 0440T. These locomotives were problematic at best, so the locomotive's characteristics name the type. C in the alphabet started out as a Dido. It was modified with the inclusion of a trailing truck to become an 042T. You've noticed here that I've not been following ST or WT or T. To me, it's T, tank engine. I don't care enough. The closest approximation to a Dido is an Elyssa. So henceforth, the 042 wheel arrangement in New Zealand is Elyssa. D, the 240, diminutive little tank locomotives. In this instance, I'm going to use one of the names that one of the locomotives carried, and henceforth, the 240T wheel arrangement is the Kotare. E in the alphabet we've already covered. It's a fairly problematic, however there's also E66, a 2660T wheel arrangement in the mallet format. It was, yes, mallet. It was known as it was known as Pearson's Dream. The appropriate title for that wheel arrangement is Mare. Next comes F in our alphabet, the 060T. Subsequent to Hackworth, it's really difficult to find an example of a poor 060 locomotive. The reason for that is that they very quickly in their existence found the limits of the type, and that explains why they are long served, plentiful and ubiquitous. The first railway to order an 060 type in significant numbers was the London and North Western with their DX class tender freight locomotives. The very first named example of that type was Hardman. So the 060T wheel arrangement in New Zealand reflects that, and the type from here on is to be known as the Hardman with an asterisk tank. G. G is a dog. G is also a garret, an ill-fated articulated locomotive that should have, as W.W. Stewart put it, conquered. It is, or was, a 6-cylinder monstrosity. So I'm going to borrow from literature. According to Dante, the 6th circle of hell is for heretics. So the 462 plus 264 wheel arrangement in New Zealand is the Heresy. H is simple, it's a fell Elyssa. There's no I, let's look at J. J is interesting. J is the 260 wheel arrangement, which in North America is called a mogul. Mogul is a reference not so much to the South Asian Empire, but to the powerful individual within a field of endeavour. In New Zealand, our railway mogul at the time the J entered service was, of course, Vogel. K, the 242 locomotive. In North America, these are known were known as the Columbia type. The reality is that name came about decades after New Zealand pioneered the arrangement in the tender form. Columbia in North America is a reference to Lady Columbia being the female personification of the United States. In New Zealand at the time when the Rogers K rolled out into traffic, the female personification of the colony in the British Empire was Lady Zealandia. So the 242 is Zealandia. L, a simple one, like, subscribe, enjoy. Actually, it's not. L, we already have the L in the Kotare form, we already have the L in the dog form. We need to reflect in naming the L or LA in the 442T wheel arrangement the fact that the Midland Railway had some role in the development of the L family of locomotives. The appropriate name is an aspirational name that draws from the Midland Railway, so the 442T wheel arrangement is the Springfield. The M is simple as well. It's a hard man with an asterisk tank. The N is an interesting one. It's a little bit like the K in that the Americans gave it a name a significant period of time later than when we pioneered the type in its tender form with the Baldwin N and the Naismith-Wilson V. In North America, the type was named because they were used to haul trains westward from Chicago across the prairies. In New Zealand, the type was intended to run across the Canterbury Plains. The Canterbury Plains are not prairies, they are alluvial fan plains. So the 262 intended configuration is the alluvial fan plain, or AFP for short. Okay, and that's far enough for part 1. It's getting a bit long. Keep an eye out for part 2.